Sophie she didn't think it was a good idea. Bivouacking meant spending the night in a glorified sleeping bag, insulated from the elements to some extent, but still at the mercy of the death zone. The altitude above 8,000 meters could cause all kinds of problems: heart attacks, strokes, or impaired judgment from an oxygen-starved brain. It was not a place to camp out for long. Her suggestion snapped Sophie out of her fog. "No way! He won't survive! We have to keep going!" "Okay, but once we're on the ridge, we can't stop." "I know." Evelyn nodded once and slipped the oxygen mask back over her face. She walked past Sophie to Levi and lifted his head. She took off his sunglasses and forced him to look at her. Sophie watched her sister in silence, willing her to do anything to make attempting the ridge possible. She waited for Evelyn to speak, but she said nothing, only slipped Levi's sunglasses into her jacket pocket. A practical gesture, keeping them safe until he needed them again. Sophie opened her mouth as Evelyn passed, hoping for reassurance that she thought Levi was up for it, but Evelyn only gestured for them to follow. Sophie took the deepest breath she could, glanced back at Levi, and followed Evelyn's quickly fading form into the snow. The ridge came up faster than Sophie anticipated. She thought of the ascent, when the skies were clear, and she had seen the dizzying drop-off on either side, a free fall to certain death down the mountain. At least now the storm hid the exposure, though the gusting winds made every step more precarious. She stopped to check the short rope between her and Levi's harnesses. Sophie knew it was beyond stupid to cross such a feature while roped together. If Levi fell, he would drag her down too. But leaving him behind wasn't an option. She glanced up at him, wishing she could pull away his oxygen mask and see his easy smile again. Levi made eye contact with her now, the familiar, soft blue of his eyes drawing her in. He nodded ever so slightly, indicating that he was ready. She squeezed his arm with her bulky gloved hand and turned away, ice axe in hand, ready to tackle the monster before them. Sophie could just see Evelyn ahead. She must have waited, but soon she began to move, dipping down and then back up again at a snail's pace, following the snaking path along the rocks. Sophie steeled herself and stepped forward, felt the line go tight and then slacken as Levi moved with her. They descended to the ridge this way, slowly, but moving better than Levi had for the past hour. Sophie felt a surge of hope. She dared to imagine that they might reach Camp 4, where warm tents and hot food awaited them. And beyond that, they would get off this nightmarish mountain and go back home, to Switzerland. The Yama Parvat summit would skyrocket her career. She'd have sponsors to rely on again. She could return to guiding, no more working in a coffee shop. It happened so fast. 1 second, Sophie was examining a potential foothold, and the next, she was yanked off her feet. A few moments of being airborne before she collided with the snow, hard, knocking the breath from her lungs. She was sliding on her back, pelted with falling snow, disoriented, no sense of up or down. And Levi, she couldn't see him, couldn't fathom anything beyond the snow and her speed and death looming, the inevitable drop-off of a cliff or plunging into a crevasse, never to be seen again. She flipped over onto her stomach and drove her ice axe into the snow with as much force as possible. She struck once, twice, 3 times before it caught, and she scrambled to dig into the snow with her crampons, her upper body screaming with effort to hold on, waiting for what came next. The incredible jolt when Levi's body hit the end of the line, something close to 200 pounds with all his gear. She braced, and miraculously, that little ice axe held their combined weight against the jolt, and Sophie screamed, a horrible, inhuman sound that surprised her. She didn't know what caused it. Equal parts relief and despair, surprise and sorrow, for she had caught them. But there was no way back up to the ridge. The slope was too steep, almost sheer, and she couldn't even make out the ridge above them. Everything was white.